You have had an impressive journey across multiple industries.
For me would be like amongst the best investment bank known for its talent pool.
You launched an e-commerce last mile operation, especially in a market as dynamic as retail.
It was just starting up in UAE markets and it was not such a big thing here in this market.
A good learning for everyone.
You understand the ground realities of the market, ground realities of the way the business operates. The equations can change anytime.
We have all seen how global supply chain was shaken by the pandemic. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by Ms. Jinal Seth, the Chief Operating Officer at Knott's Enterprise Solutions. Jinal holds an MBA from IIM Lucknow, is MCIPS chartered and a BTech by education. For the past several years, she has been leading group procurement and landmark group, where she is spearheaded transformative initiatives, automating systems, overcoming freight challenges during turbulent times, and launching landmarks e-commerce last mile operations. But Genial's expertise doesn't stop there. Prior to this, she led strategy with Acme Group and managed procurement controlling at Suzlon Energy Limited. We are about to dive into her incredible journey and how she has been reshaping the future of supply chain management. Thank you so much, Jinal, and it's lovely to have you here on our show.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for inviting me here today. And congratulations for beginning this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Jinal, you have had an impressive journey across multiple industries, starting from retail or maybe from energy and now leading operations at Knots. If you had to pick one moment on decisions that really define your career, what would it be? And why did it shape your path so powerfully?
I think, in terms of transitioning across the career spectrums, yes, I have done it from, finance to procurement to getting into business and operations now. But I think one of the pivotal moments for me would be to actually transition from IT. Yes, I have been a computer engineer, and having completed computer engineering, I had joined Lehman Brothers, which is like amongst the best investment bank known for its talent pool. And being there, and when I got a call from IIM Lucknow, it was really a question for me, because generally speaking, people from the top IIMs and MBAs look forward to join investment bank
Right.
and transition into a year. And I was already there, so for me it was a question of opportunity cost. Second was, if finally I have to come here, do I really need to get there? But then, yes, I think for me it was vital to get into MBA, to move from IT into the business. And for that, it was very clear for me that I had to have that understanding and the groundings of all the subjects, right from finance to marketing to HR and operations, which finally, kind of helped me through my roles across all the major companies that I worked in. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments of, transitioning from IT into business and doing MBA.
That's amazing. You
Would
quite had a learning during the transition, I would say, from
Yes.
one sector to another sector. You launched an e-commerce last mile operation, especially in the market as dynamic as retail. What were the key moves you made to ensure this was a success? Could you share a moment where things didn't go as planned and how you turned it around?
Right. So I was partnering the operations while we were launching the e-commerce for the first time in Middle East markets, and it was a very critical phase, because there were no standardized players as we see today, and there were multiple thoughts that were coming through in terms of as a finance, to assess whether we should have our own fleet, and by sending it around, have a different hub and spoke kind of a model, making use of the stores that are there, and then kind of selling, or having partnering with a third party. So it was a very unique positioning at that time, because we have not seen the market, we have not known how much will be the orders coming through, and what would be therefore the right metrics to assess between own versus a third party last mile. So that is where, it was a critical phase. And to top it all, while we had just launched it, and the market, after the whole due diligence, it was selected that we will go through a 3PL first, understand, get the learnings, and then move on to explore the different models. COVID came in,
Okay.
and that, my god, skyrocketed the sales of e-commerce, which in a way put burden on the whole of the team to kind of
Just the transition.
get the transition done faster. Overnight we had to look out for vendors who are able to kind of up their capacities, negotiate the rates, and get into the space. And somewhere that e-commerce cost is not as factored in, like while you are doing your pricing, because we see that yes, online pricings are at a good discount, and there are good
Right.
different pricing models where you think that okay, e-commerce might not be a big cost, there is no retail cost and all that, so you're giving a healthy discount. And then suddenly you figure out, oh, the cost is not as low as you would think. So I assessing that, and figuring out what is the cost per order, including all different dynamics, and figuring it out that yes, this should be the level of margins, or this should be the level of buffers that should be built in before deciding on the margins, was one of the critical phases. Because the sales are growing crazy, and if you're not keeping an eye on that particular number, then it becomes a very tough space for any team and group to be in.
Okay. And I think that was quite a good learning for everyone, those who were
Yes.
working with you and for yourself as well.
Correct, absolutely. I mean, it was a good learning because, sometimes you understand not only with e commerce, in fact, with freight, I was witnessing a similar story where, there was a time where the goods were coming in for like $400 from different parts of the world to UAE, and then suddenly the prices have skyrocketed to 2,000, 3,000 plus for the spot markets. Now, suddenly the dynamics, the equations change. Like earlier, you are the client and the supplier is working with you, and kind of matching all the requirements and availabilities for you. And then there is a time when however big you are, doesn't
You
matter,
have to chase the vendors.
you have to chase the vendor,
Right.
find your capacities, get your goods, and get the movements going. So that was also a very good and interesting learning at that time, because you understand the ground realities of the market, ground realities of the way the business operates, and that the equations can change anytime. It's like snakes and ladders, full of uncertainties, when which equation changes.
So, my next question is somewhat similar to what we have just discussed. We have all seen how global supply chain was shaken by the pandemic and geopolitical challenges. How did you keep things running smoothly at your past organizations? Was there a particular moment where you had to make a high stake decisions under pressure?
Right. I think the supply chain has been quite disrupted ever since, the pandemic, even now because of all the ongoing wars which are happening in the Middle East. And definitely, that puts a lot of burden on the overall logistics, because, in a regular day scenario, it is at the back end, and everything is assumed that things will come on, all your goods will come on time, they will be there at the store. And even for me at Knots right now, we assume that yes, the uniforms, for example, will be available to the schools, to the corporates, or at the time when they need it. But the disruptions that are there are unprecedented, and they have been recurring out of the smallest of the things. So one thing that I have learned, through this journey of supply chain logistics and freight, is that you have to be agile, you have to be aware of the geopolitical scenario and how it can impact you, be more proactive, and understand what are the alternate options. Be it taking on sea freight is like almost like a negligible cost, versus looking at an air freight, it could go up to like 60 times also of the cost. that you are generally weighing. So being aware that yes, maybe there will be a scenario where you have to incur this cost. When you are incurring this such a high cost, there will be a impact on the margin, there will be an impact on the overall pricing of the goods. And that is where, I think that high stakes decision always lies, that okay, for what category of items are we ready to take that, does it make sense to bring it by air freight, does it make sense to defer it, or does it make sense to kind of change your model of working, be it getting things from outside the country or sourcing it locally. That is one area which I feel that gets completely impacted by the whole turbulence that has been occurring with the supply chain and the freight industry.
Okay, so it's all about awareness and the knowledge about the market and what you are
Yes.
doing at the moment.
And making sure that you are understanding the risks, you're mitigating it in a proactive manner, you have your alternative options ready. And, being there and, um, solving it before the problem really arrives. That is
Absolutely.
one way by which you can be ahead of the market, or be ahead of the the adversities that could potentially be very disruptive.
Okay, so the awareness is the key, I would say.
Yes.
So here comes a fun part. So it's a rapid fire round, which we generally ask the guest couple of questions, and they don't have to take much time. Whatever come in their mind first, based on their intuitions and experience, they have to answer. So
Sure.
the first question for you is automation or human intuition? What's make more critical in supply chain management?
Human intuition.
Okay.
You
One
can.
book or podcast that changed the way you think about leadership.
Vinita Singh, especially her talks on women leadership.
Amazing. I'm definitely going to refer that. If you were not in supply chain and procurement, what career would you have pursued?
Maybe something in creativity, writing.
Do you love writing?
Yes.
Lovely. One word to describe the future of e commerce.
Ever evergreen and growth.
Thank you so much. Let's jump back to our questions. So, what advice would you give to the next generation of leader who wants to follow in your footstep? What qualities do you think will matter most in tomorrow's leaders, especially in the fast evolving landscape?
One thing is, I think, stay grounded, understand the realities, and understand what the people at different levels are working, going through. Second is diversify, uh, try to get into different roles and positions, because then you understand the interconnectivity amongst the roles, and how you are playing a role, and what is its impact at different levels. Number three, definitely, understand what do your team, your people, your stakeholders, your customers, your vendors are looking for, and you know being aware and being there for that. Problem solving will be another important factor, and definitely networking, because what you can do by understanding and knowing people around, and those advices and guidance will be invaluable compared to figuring out anything from Google or internet, or via any books.
Okay, so I think if you really want to change a system, you have to get into the system.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jinal. And it's really amazing and lovely to have you on our show. And I'm sure there are so many females out there who are still struggling or maybe confused, like whether what will happen if they will go on a they will choose the procurement or the supply chain stream, what will happen. And I'm sure this discussion or whatever insights you have mentioned here, they are definitely going to learn a lot from that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. It was really a pleasure being here with being part of the show.
Thank you.